Hello, Year 10. Nice to see you. I'm at school. Weird. Anyway, it's really nice. My blossom's beautiful outside. It's just coming out. It's really nice. I love my blossom every year. Last 20 years. Weird. Okay, we're going to do Bayonet charge today. All right. So working through the poems. We are right in the middle of the war poetry section. So these are tough poems. They're really difficult. Tough emotions, tough images. So take your time over them. All right. And do some creative writing tasks in between maybe, so you're not just doing all the tough poetry. We'll get to the identity one soon. All right, so Bayonet charge, I'll just read it to you, and then I think I've got about seven or eight tasks for you. All right, so Bayonet charge, get your poem book out if you've got it there, okay? Suddenly he awoke and was running. Raw seamed hot khaki, his sweat heavy, stumbling across a field of clods towards a green hedge that dazzled with rifle fire, hearing bullets smacking the belly out of the air. He lugged a rifle numb as a smashed arm, the patriotic tear that had brimmed in his eyes sweating like molten iron from the centre of his chest. In bewilderment then he almost stopped. In what cold clockwork of the stars and the nations was he the hand pointing that second? He was running like a man who has jumped up in the dark and runs listening between his footfalls for the reason of his still running. And his foot hung like statuary in mid-stride. Then the shot slashed furrows through up a yellow hair that rolled like a flame and crawled in a threshing circle, its mouth wide open, silent, its eyes standing out. He plunged past with his bayonet towards the green hedge. King, honour, human dignity, etc. dropped like luxuries in a yelling alarm to get out of that blue crackling air, his terror's touchy dynamite. Okay, so 8 tasks. Number 1, find out as much as you can about Ted Hughes. Ted Hughes is the poet. Find out about his life, find out about his wife, his career, his time in the RAF, his studies at Cambridge, any of those things, and sort of apply his life to his poetry. How does it fit together? Question 2. This poem obviously puts us on the front line in World War One, and so we're in a trench, okay? So I want you to find out about life in a trench and going over the top, what it is when you suddenly have to get out and run towards an enemy. So find out as much as you can: food, sleeping arrangements, health, medicines, any of those sorts of things, the battles, any of the sort of ideas in history of that, okay? Maybe, if you want to challenge yourself, link the reality of that to the propaganda that got people to sign up in the first place. Task 3. Think about the emotions that run through this poem. Track the emotions, okay? And there's lots of them. There's probably things like exhaustion, some sense of empowerment maybe, confusion, shock, bewilderment. There's lots and lots of emotions. So try and track them and place them around your poem. Maybe find the quotes and explore those emotions and how they're described. Number 4, the poem starts with action. Suddenly he awoke and was running. So we go from nothing to like the mid sort of shock. And probably that's what it would have been like in the trench. You might be dozing and asleep and suddenly you're up and you're running, so you go from nothing to high adrenaline really quickly. So think about the speed and the pace of this poem, and think about how that changes through the stanzas. So there are some really fast bits and there's some slower bits. So think about how the poet is creating changes in pace. All right, so it might be to do with the vowel sounds they're using, the consonant sounds they're using maybe, the types of words, the punctuation, enjambment, caesura, those sorts of things, okay? So how is the pace shifted? 5, find all the verbs, okay, that give action to this poem. Find them and think about what action they give and how that action changes during the timing of the poem. Number 6. The hair in stanza 3, okay? So you think about that hair, look at its description, and think about its symbolism, what's it there for? Maybe think as well about Ted Hughes and how his use of nature in this poem, and what does that hair represent, okay? Number 7, soldiers' feelings and attitudes towards the war in line 20. So have a look at line 20, it's that list, king, honour, human dignity, etc. Okay, so I want you to think about the tone of that and the attitude that's being suggested at that point about the honour of battle. Last task. I want you to think about imagery. So think about some of the lines in there and draw them, okay? Be artistic or collage them or something, I don't mind. So lines like cold clockwork of the stars and nations. So I don't know, that metaphor, the idea of things sort of machinery and cogs and maybe fate with the stars, because stars are our horoscopes and our fate and our destiny. So maybe think about how you could create some visual representations of the imagery. There's a lot of colour imagery in here as well. We've got green hedges, and we've got iron, molten iron, so we get this kind of burny colour, and we get yellow hair, and we get green hedge again, and we get dynamite, so we might get blacks as well. So have a think about the colour imagery and draw as much as you can, embedding quotes within your illustrations. Okay, well done. See you soon. Bye.